So this is your first self-assessment test, and I have provided 100 short question for your NET exam, and this is self-assessment test as you have appeared this, and we will discuss some important key points and key concepts from each questions so that it will be helpful for you. First question is, arrange these institutes in order of their establishment, right? So to solve this type of question, you must know some important institutes and their establishment year, right? So NSC, when it was established in 1963. NABARD, it was established in 1982. OUAT, it was established in 1962, and CREDA, it was established in 1985. So now you can arrange this with their establishment year, right? So unless and until you know when it was established, when the important institutes are established, you cannot answer such type of question. Then crop idiotype concept was first proposed by, Donald. Donald was the scientist who first proposed crop idiotype concept. Basically, idiotypes means what type of plant is suitable in a particular condition. So to prepare such type of plant is called crop that idiotype, right? So let's say, for example, a dry land area is there. So we want that it should have more root than shoot, and it should have less leaf area so that there will be less transpiration. So that type of plant we will, and we do not want the leaves to be parallel to the ground level so that there will be more solar radiation insolation and more transpiration will be there. So we want that leaves, the arrangement of the leaves to be perpendicular to the ground. So such type of plants we want in that particular track. So that can be a idiotype. For example, that can be one example of idiotype. So that is idiotype concept was proposed by Donald. Then the dwarfing gene of rice. There are different dwarfing gene of different crops. You must remember them. And for rice, this is DGO Uzen. The dwarfing gene in case of rice is DGO Uzen. What is the sterility percentage of rice panicle if there are 120 field grains present among 150 average grain present in the panicle? So total number of grains in the panicle are 150, and out of that 120 field grains are there. So on-field grains, how many on-field grains are there? So total 30 on-field grain will be there, and out of 150. So this is sterility percentage. Fertility percentage means how many field grains are there out of total grains, and sterility percentage means how many on-field grains are there out of total grains. So 30 by 150 into 100. So it will be around 5, so 20%. So 20% will be the sterility percentage of rice. Then AICRP on which crop was first started? AICRP means All India Coordinated Resource Project. All India Coordinated Resource Project. So first crop was maize. AICRP on maize was first started. That was started in 1957. Coming to your sixth question. Example of any crop where the coefficient of effectiveness is nearly 100%. So basically, coefficient of effectiveness is nothing but the harvest index. Harvest index is also called the coefficient of effectiveness. And what is harvest index? That is the economic yield divided by biological into 100. So if it is nearly 100%, that means economical yield should be equal to biological yield. Then only it will be 100%. So when the economical yield is 100%, and what is the economical yield? Economical yield is our use which part of that crop we are using, that is economic output, right? So economical yield that is equal to biological yield means that means total biological part or total diameter is the economical yield. So which type of crop you can find total biological part is the economical yield? So that is forage crop, mainly forage crop. In case of forage crop, total above ground biomass, that is economical yield. So for forage crops, this coefficient of effectiveness will be 100%. Edible starchy grains of cereals are called, what is that called? Caryopsis. The grain of cereals, that is edible starchy grains, that is called caryopsis. The light intensity at which the rate of photosynthesis is equal to the rate of respiration. The light intensity at which the rate of photosynthesis is equal to rate of respiration, that is called light compensation point. Compensation point. Same as if it would be asked like the carbon dioxide concentration at which photosynthesis is equal to respiration, then that you can answer carbon dioxide compensation point. Then light saturation point, that means when the light intensity goes upward, so the rate of photosynthesis will go upward, and at a point when that light intensity reaches the threshold level, then the rate of photosynthesis will increase up to that point, then it will decrease. So that point is called light saturation point. Remember, one is light saturation point, one is light compensation point. Light compensation point is the point of when the rate of photosynthesis is equal to rate of respiration, and at that point the net photosynthesis is equal to 0. The net photosynthesis will be 0. Photoperiodically, cotton is a dash plant. Photoperiodically, cotton is a day neutral plant. Day neutral plant. That means whether there is long day, whether there is short day condition, that will not affect the flowering of the cotton plant. Okay, so cotton is a day neutral plant, like potato, tomato, peas, cotton. These are day neutral plant. Example of day neutral plant, which do not affected by the day length of the that condition of that day or that growing season. Then vegetative lag phase found in vegetative lag phase found in rice crop, and when it is found and falls in between which stages? So vegetative lag phase is generally found in long duration rice varieties, and this is found between maximum tillering stage to panicle initiation stage. So in generally the short duration varieties, these maximum tillering and panicle initiation, they coincide with each other. That means within 1 or 2 days of maximum tillering, that panicle initiation starts. But in case of long duration variety, there is a huge gap between this maximum tillering and panicle initiation stage, that is called vegetative lag phase. Okay. Then on submergence, availability of which nutrients increase in the soil? On submergence, availability of which nutrient increase in the soil? So remember, phosphorus, iron and manganese, their availability increases in case of submergence. Or you can ask, there may be question like submergence or in reduced condition, that might be asked. So submergence means there will be reduced condition will automatically prevail. So on submergence, what will happen? If the pH, generally phosphorus availability mostly depends on the pH of the soil. So if the soil is acidic and there is submergence, so it will go or tends towards neutrality. Or if the soil is saline, then also if it is submergence condition, then also it will tend towards neutrality. So by the change in pH towards neutrality, the phosphorus availability will be there. But in case of iron and manganese, the mechanism is quite different. Iron and manganese, they present mostly in the ferrous form in the soil. So when there is submerged condition, okay, they mainly present in ferric form. Okay, Fe3 plus form, Mn3 plus form, they mostly present in the soil. So when there is more submergence or there is reduced form, they will convert to reduced form. That means Fe2 plus and Mn2 plus. So they will convert to reduced form, and in reduced form their availability increases. So in submerged soil, you can find iron toxicity and manganese toxicity as well. The next question, the biological mean of nitrogen loss from soil is called. So there are different types of losses in nitrogen. One is physical loss, you can say physical loss, then chemical loss and biological loss. There are different types of losses in nitrogen, and nitrogen is the most prone to loss nutrient in the soil. So physical loss, you can say leaching, along with the percolated water or infiltrated water, that nitrogen when it lost through water, then that is called leaching. That is physical loss. Chemical loss, volatilization. That means in alkaline soil, if the ammoniacal nitrogen we apply, then ammonium will convert it to ammonia. So ammonia is a gas and it will liberate to the atmosphere. That is chemical loss. Biological loss in case of denitrification. Okay, denitrification. So the biological means of nitrogen loss, where terminal in denitrification, what happens? The terminal nitrogen, the terminal oxygen is consumed by the microbes, soil microbes. The terminal oxygen is consumed by soil microbes, and the nitrogen liberated in case of nitrogen in the form of nitrous oxide, in the form of dinitrogen, it will liberate to the atmosphere. Then one example of urease inhibitor. Urease inhibitor example you can find NBPT, PPDA, phenyl phosphorodiamidate. These are example of urease inhibitor. Which macronutrients are absent in chlorophyll? Which macronutrients are absent in chlorophyll? So you have to remember, unless and until you remember the formula of chlorophyll, then you cannot answer, right? So chlorophyll, what is the formula? C55H72O5N4Mg. Now we can answer which macronutrients are not absent in chlorophyll. So magnesium is present, nitrogen is present, oxygen present, H and carbon present. All other macronutrients, they are absent in chlorophyll. Luxury consumption can be most frequently found in which nutrient? Luxury consumption can be, luxury consumption का मतलब क्या होता है? What is luxury consumption? Luxury consumption means if the nutrient requirement is something and the plant is taking more nutrient than the required nutrient, and it is not showing any toxicity symptom as well, that is luxury consumption. So it is mostly most prevalent for potassium, because potassium is a nutrient which doesn't combine with any organic molecule inside the plant system. So it can easily be taken up and it can easily be stored without showing any toxic effect in plant. So it can easily be stored inside the plant cell. That is potassium. So answer will be potassium. Example of non-selective systemic herbicide. Non-selective means on any plant it will fall, but that may be crop, that may be weed, it will kill that plant. And systemic means it will wherever it will fall, whether leaf, stem, flower, wherever it will fall, it will move inside the plant and it will reach to the site of action and it will kill that plant. So non-selective systemic herbicide example is glyphosate, you can say glyphosate. Okay, which primary nutrient is called quality nutrient? Which primary nutrient is called quality nutrient? That is potassium. The right answer will be potassium. That is called quality nutrient because it is having role in the sugar translocation, it is having role in the water dynamics, water status, it maintains the water status of the plant, it helps in disease resistance, it helps in water relation. So it is called quality nutrient. Crop logging was first developed for which crop? Crop logging, this is not lodging. Lodging is different, logging is different. Crop logging was first developed in sugarcane crop. Sugarcane crop, and in Hawaii it was developed by C.F. Clement. Okay, crop logging is a phenomenon. What happens there? At periodical interval, we just see what is the nutrient status of that plant. Okay, at periodical interval in crop logging, what will happen? In periodical interval, we just check the nutrient level of the crop. Universal soil loss equation was given by who proposed this universal soil loss equation? That is Weismeyer and Smith. Weismeyer and Smith. What is the universal soil loss equation? A is equal to RKLSCP. Okay, this is the soil loss equation and it was developed by Weismeyer and Smith. The concept that explains a direct and linear relationship between growth and temperature. The concept that explains direct and linear relationship between growth and temperature, that is growing degree day. Growing degree day. In growing degree day, there is relationship between directly between temperature and growth. So it says actually growing degree day is equal to summation of T max plus T mean divided by 2 minus TB, that is base temperature. Okay, so this is the summation of mean temperature of the day minus base temperature of the day. So by accumulating this, when it reaches the growing degree up to certain unit or heat unit, we can say growing degree is also known as heat unit. So when it reaches heat unit, it will mature, or it will be harvested, the time for harvesting. So that is the concept is relationship between, but this has so many limitations and it is not being used now. The total amount of photosynthesis produced due to the process of photosynthesis is called gross photosynthesis. Gross photosynthesis. And the accumulated product, that is the net photosynthesis, that is gross photosynthesis minus the photosynthetic produce that is used in or utilized in the respiration process, that is net photosynthesis. Among microflora present in soil, dash is having highest biomass. Among microflora, all the microflora like bacteria, fungus, actinomycetes, these are the microflora present in the soil, which is having highest biomass, that is fungi or fungus, having higher biomass. When it is being asked as number, then you can answer bacteria. Who proposed inverse yield nitrogen law? That is Wilcox. Wilcox is a scientist who proposed inverse yield nitrogen law, which means the law says itself that yield is inversely proportional to the nitrogen content of the crop. Yield is inversely proportional. When the nitrogen content of the crop is more, then yield will be less. When the yield will be more, the nitrogen content will be less. This was proposed by Wilcox, and this is the inverse yield nitrogen law. The government scheme implemented for promoting organic farming. For the promotion of organic farming, which government scheme was implemented? That is Paramparagat Krishi Vikas Yojana. Paramparagat Krishi Vikas Yojana, which was I think launched in 2016. Paramparagat Krishi Vikas Yojana, it was for the promotion of organic farming in India. Next is chisel plow, generally used to break hard pan, is an example of which tillage? If it will be the question, then you can say blindly primary tillage, but for which purpose chisel plow is being used, then you can say subsoiling. Subsoiling hard pan, to break the subsoiling hard pan, we must mostly use chisel plow, and it is a primary tillage implement. Plowing the land with standing water to create an impervious layer below the soil surface to reduce deep percolation loss of water is called puddling. Okay, it is called puddling. So in puddling, what happens? We just allow the water to stand over our field. Then at suboptimal concentration, optimal level of water, what we do, we just till the soil, we just plow the soil. So as the soil is in suboptimal condition, suboptimal moisture condition, so there will be breakage of soil particles, and the soil aggregate, they breaks, they separate out. The sand, silt, clay, they separate out, and as you know, in the Stokes law, it is mentioned that the terminal velocity, so those particles will settle down faster, which is having more diameter. So sand particle is having more diameter, so it will it will settle down faster, then followed by silt particle, then followed by clay particle. So there is a impervious layer will form, which will restrict the infiltration process, or percolation process basically, or infiltration process, or downward movement of water in the soil. So that is basically known as puddling. And dash is the process of breaking, scratching, mechanically altering the seed coat to make them permeable to water and gases. That is called scarification. Scarification. Another one is called stratification. That is when we apply some temperature to make them permeable to water and gases. That is called stratification. So these processes are done to break the dormancy basically. Dash curve is used to describe plant population and yield relationship when the economic yield is fraction of the total diameter. So basically Holiday proposed this. Holiday scientist, he proposed two type of response curve based on the relationship between plant population and yield. One is parabolic relationship, parabolic curve. Another one is asymptotic curve. Parabolic curve and asymptotic curve. Okay, so when the economic yield is the fraction of total diameter, then that is called parabolic curve. That means when we increase the plant population, that economic yield will increase up to some extent, then it will decrease. Then that is called parabolic response curve. When the total biomass is the economic product, then that follows the asymptotic curve. Okay, this was proposed by Holiday. Then dash refers to the guaranteed minimum percentage of nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium contained in fertilizer material, that is called fertilizer grade. Fertilizer grade. Okay, so for let's say DAP, what is the fertilizer grade? That is 18460. This is how it is written. Then the driving force for unsaturated movement of soil water in the micropore is, the driving force for unsaturated movement of soil water in the micropore is, that is metric potential. Metric potential. Okay, metric potential. In water potential, you can say there are different type of potential: metric potential, osmotic potential and gravitational potential are there. So metric potential will be the main driving force in case of unsaturated soil. Then the ratio between evapotranspiration of crop and potential evapotranspiration is defined as evapotranspiration and potential evapotranspiration, that is, or crop evapotranspiration and potential evapotranspiration, that is called crop coefficient. Crop coefficient. Okay, crop coefficient. Then the erosion caused by the combined action of wind and water. See, these are the agents for erosion. So by wind, there are different phases of erosion, you know, saltation, suspension, surface creep. By water, there are different type of erosion like splash erosion, then reel erosion, then ravine erosion. Okay, these type of erosions are there. So by combined action, whatever erosion is happening, that is called wave erosion. Wave erosion. Okay. Then next question, adverse influence of drought on metabolism of plant. Adverse influence of drought on metabolism of plant is called, that is, you can say metabolic strain. What is stress? What is strain? You can say what is stress? What is strain? So the effect is called stress. That means the agents, when it is acting something or there is an unfavorable condition, that is called stress, and the result of the stress is known as strain. Then next question is, dash is a free living diazotroph. Diazotroph means the nitrogen fixing organism. Okay, free living diazotroph. So free living nitrogen fixing organism, you know, that is azotobacter. Azotobacter. Okay, free living nitrogen fixer or free living diazotroph. Then consumptive use is equal to evapotranspiration plus metabolic use of water. Consumptive use is equal to evapotranspiration plus metabolic use of water, and from this total consumptive use, evapotranspiration loss is more than 99% and metabolic use is less than 1%. Then branola is the oil extracted from dash crop. Branola is the oil extracted from rice crop. Okay, so from rice bran, whatever oil is made or prepared, that is called branola. So when the moisture percentage in the grain is 13 to 14%, then it should be stored, and when the moisture percentage is 20 to 21%, then that should be harvested. Okay, but in case of oil seed, you can see 6 to 8% is the storage limit. When the moisture content is dropped down to 6 to 8%, then only it can be stored for effective storing, otherwise there will be fungal attack. Next question is, glyphosate is also called tailor-made herbicide. It is absolutely false, because a tailor-made herbicide is pendimethalin. Pendimethalin. Okay, so why it is called tailor-made herbicide? Because it can be used blindly in any type of crop as pre-emergence herbicide. Then scientific name of teosinte. Teosinte is a wild progenitor of maize plant, that is Euclena mexicana. Euclena mexicana. The scientific name is Euclena mexicana. Okay, that is teosinte. Then bench terracing is practiced in land having slope, that is 16 to 33%. Okay, where the slope is 16 to 33%, then bench terracing is practiced. Bench terracing again are of different types, basically 4 types. One is tabletop bench terracing, tabletop the inward sloping bench terracing, outward sloping bench terracing, and conservation based terracing. Dash and dash stages are most critical for irrigation in maize. Basically, tasseling and silking. Okay, silking and tasseling, or tasseling and silking, are the two most critical stages for irrigation in case of maize. Higher the selectivity index of herbicide, the more safer the herbicide to apply. It is true or false? Obviously, it is false. So, mostly selectivity index. What does it mean? Selectivity index is the maximum dose of herbicide a crop can tolerate divided by minimum dose of herbicide required to kill the weeds. Okay, maximum dose of herbicide a crop can tolerate divided by minimum dose of herbicide a weed can get killed. So it is suggested that selectivity index should be more than 2 for safer use of herbicide. That means the crop should tolerate twice the herbicide required for the weed to control. Then only it will be more selective or more safer to use that herbicide. Okay. The next question is dash and dash nutrient deficiency causes interveinal chlorosis in plant. That is magnesium in case of older leaves, the magnesium, and in case of younger leaf, iron. They causes interveinal chlorosis in the plant. Then indicator plant used for assessing permanent wilting point, that is sunflower. Sunflower is used as indicator plant for assessing permanent wilting point. Then indicator plant used for sodium deficiency in soil, that is sugar beet. So they are more sensitive. That means when we are using indicator plants, means they will tell us about the deficiency faster or earlier. Okay, they are more sensitive to that situation. So indicator plant used for sodium deficiency, you have to remember different indicator plants are there for different purposes. You have to remember them. Then formula of ginning percentage. Basically, ginning percentage is calculated in cotton. So ginning percentage is equal to weight of lint divided by weight of seed cotton, that basically comprises of seed plus lint into 100, total into 100. Okay, this is ginning percentage. Then Indian Institute of Farming System Research, IIFSR, that is situated in Modipuram in UP. Then indicator used for estimating soil oxidizable organic carbon, that is diphenylamine, DPA indicator, that is called diphenylamine indicator. Soil available nitrogen above dash kg per hectare rated as high availability. The range is basically 280 to 560 kg per hectare. Below 280, that is low, in between, that is moderate, and more than 560 kg per hectare available nitrogen, that is high. Okay, so remember. Next one is dash hormone is generally secreted in plant during stress condition, that is abscisic acid. It is also called stress hormone. Then FAO declared dash year as the International Year of Millet, that is this year, actually 2023. FAO declared 2023 as the International Year of Millet. Then correct sequence of water productivity for C3, C4 and CAM plant are, so basically this is the correct sequence. CAM is greater than C4 is greater than C3. Okay, so this is the correct sequence for water productivity. And if it is being asked what is the unit of water productivity, then you can answer kg per hectare millimeter. Kg per hectare millimeter is the unit of water productivity. Then correct sequence for seed treatment of insecticide, fungicide and rhizobium, you know the answer, that is the FIR principle. First is the fungicide, then insecticide, then the rhizobium. So this is the correct sequence for seed treatment. Then dash is the most widely followed cropping system in India. Dash is the most widely followed cropping system in India, that is rice wheat cropping system is the most widely used cropping system in India. Then dash is the most widely followed farming system in India. Farming system means suitable combination of different enterprises. So most widely followed is crop livestock farming system. The scientific name of kodo millet is Paspalum scrobiculatum. Paspalum scrobiculatum is the scientific name of kodo millet. Then Indian Institute of Pulse Research, that is situated at Kanpur. Indian Institute of Pulse Research, it is situated at Kanpur. Pulses are deficient in mainly the sulfur containing amino acid, that those are methionine, cysteine and cysteine. These are sulfur containing amino acid, and pulses are deficient in sulfur containing amino acid like methionine, cysteine and cysteine. Whereas cereals, they are deficient in lysine and tryptophan. Then chickpea leaves contain dash and dash acid, that is oxalic acid and malic acid. Oxalic acid and malic acid. Argemone toxicity is due to presence of alkaloid. Argemone toxicity is due to presence of alkaloid sanguinarine and 11 oxotriacantanoic acid. Okay, sanguinarine and 11 oxotriacantanoic acid, due to which there is argemone toxicity is being seen. Example of complete stem parasite. Parasitic weeds, we have already taught what are the different types of parasitic weeds, like one is root parasite, one is stem parasite. Then in root there is partial and total, in stem there is partial and total. So complete stem parasite, that is Cuscuta. Cuscuta is the complete stem parasite. Then rhizobium cross inoculation group suitable for lucerne crop. So basically rhizobium is a symbiotic association, makes symbiotic association with pulse crop or leguminous crop, and there are different cross inoculation group are there which are suitable for different leguminous crop. So for lucerne there is rhizobium meliloti. Rhizobium meliloti is most suitable, that is the suitable cross inoculation group for lucerne crop. Then weeds whose seed once mixed with crop seed, very difficult to remove, that is called objectionable weed. Okay, objectionable weed. Then next, chemical that is used for testing seed viability, that is that test is called tetrazolium test. Or the chemical use is tetrazolium chloride. Tetrazolium chloride is being used to test seed viability. What happens when we dip the seed in 0.1 to 1% tetrazolium solution, then the viable seed will stain like orange or red color because of formation of formajan. Okay, tetrazolium chloride convert to formajan and it stain the viable seeds, and on non-viable seed they will remain as such. Then next question, allocory mechanism that involves the burrs as dispersal agent. Allocory mechanism means the seed dispersal which requires certain agent, that is allocory, and self dispersal is known as autocory mechanism. So allocory mechanism which involve burrs, that is called ornithocory. So there are different type of allocory mechanism. If the transfer is through burr, that is ornithocory. If the transfer is through wind, that is anemocory. If the transfer is through birds, that is we just discussed. If the transfer is through animals, then or mammals, that is mammaliocory. If the transfer is through ants, then that is called myrmecocory. So this is how you have to remember. Then dash weed seeds exhibit innate, induced and enforced dormancy. That means all type of dormancy, that is Avena fatua weed, it shows all type of dormancy. Then design of experiment where all the three principles of experimental design need not to be used, that is CRD, completely randomized design. Here the local control is not used. Control is not used because it is already homogeneous. Where we take CRD, where the experimental plot is completely homogeneous. In case of greenhouse condition or in case of laboratory, we take generally CRD. So there is local control is not needed. Then the error degree of freedom in split plot design having 3 main plot, 5 subplot level and 3 replications are. So here the formula will be A into B minus 1 into R minus 1. So A is the main plot factor, that is 3. So 3 into B is the subplot factor 5. 3 into 4 into R minus 1, that is 2. 2 2s are 3s are 4, that is 24. So here the answer will be 24. Then principle of exclusion of solar radiation. Principle of exclusion of solar radiation is used for the weed control in case of soil solar radiation. That is true or false? So this is absolutely false, because we are using solar radiation in soil solar radiation. Okay, we are using solar radiation in soil solar radiation, but where we are excluding the solar sunlight to control the weeds? In case of mulching. In case of mulching, this principle is used. Mulching. But in soil solar radiation, we are using the solar radiation. We are not excluding the solar radiation. The next question is range of correlation coefficient, that is -1 to +1. -1 to +1. When it is called multiple correlation coefficient, then 0 to 1. Okay. Then among C3, C4 and CAM plant, dash crop can produce more under elevated carbon dioxide concentration in the atmosphere when other factors remain constant, that is C3 plant. So if other factors remain constant in the environment, if the carbon dioxide concentration in our atmosphere it will go on increasing, then C3 plant will respond better, because they are having high carbon dioxide saturation point. They are having high carbon dioxide saturation point. Then terminator technology is used in which crop? That is cotton. In cotton, basically the industry, the private industry, they use terminator technology. That means if you are using the seed, purchasing the seed from the company, and you have used the seed in this year, then whatever next seed produced from that crop, that cannot be used. That cannot be used, or that will not germinate, that will not be viable that enough. Okay, or that will produce some plant which will not produce some cotton economically. Okay, produce the cotton economically. So that is terminator technology. Terminate the regeneration. That is basically terminator technology which is used in cotton, so that you have to purchase seed again from the company. That is terminator technology. Dash state has got the status of fully organic state in India, that is Sikkim. Sikkim got the status of as a fully organic state in India. Sugarcane is harvested when the Brix value is dash and the Brix ratio between top and bottom of cane is dash. So the Brix value should be 16 to 18 and the Brix ratio is 0.9 to 1 when the cane is ready to harvest. Highest cropping intensity is recorded in which agroclimatic zone of India? That is Trans-Gangetic Plain. Trans-Gangetic Plain. The agroclimatic zone, Trans-Gangetic Plain, having highest cropping intensity among all the agroclimatic zones in India. Tilth of soil is called good tilth when the macro and micropore proportion is 50-50% or the ratio is 1. Okay, when the macro and micropore ratio is 1, then we can call it as a good tilth. In universal soil loss equation, K stands for, in universal soil loss equation that was proposed by Westmere and Smith, and the equation is equal to A is equal to RKL SCP. So here K stands for soil erodibility. Soil erodibility of the soil. That means what extent the soil can be eroded. Okay, that is soil erodibility. The imaginary line connecting equal cloud cover, that is called isoneph. Study of cloud is known as nephology. Study of cloud is called nephology, and the line connecting equal cloud cover, that is called isoneph. The weed control efficiency of weed free check. The weed control efficiency of weed free check, that is 100%. The weed control efficiency of weed free check, that is 100%. Then glyphosate inhibits dash enzyme to kill the weed. 5. EPSP enzyme. It inhibits the EPSP enzyme which actually which is responsible for the production of the aromatic amino acid. Okay, this EPSP pathway is the main production pathway of aromatic amino acid. So by inhibiting the EPSP enzyme, there is less production of aromatic amino acid, by which weeds get killed. Then the pathogen involved in bioherbicide D-vine, that is Phytophthora palmivora. Then calcium carbonate equivalent of dolomite, that is 109. You have to remember the calcium carbonate equivalent, or you can calculate in such a way like suppose the molecular weight of the liming material divided by molecular weight of calcium carbonate into 100. So in this way you can calculate the calcium carbonate equivalent. Okay, right. Next is acid equivalent of ammonium chloride. Acha, this formula you can check, that is, I think, molecular weight of calcium carbonate. You just check it by molecular weight of liming material into 100. So I think this is the correct notation. Okay, so you just check this. So you have to remember in such a way the calcium carbonate equivalent they ask sometimes. So you have to remember this calcium carbonate equivalent. Then acid equivalent of ammonium chloride, that is 128. Remember anhydrous ammonia, that is 148, and ammonium chloride 128, ammonium sulfate, that is 110, ammonium sulfate nitrate, that is 193. So you have to remember all this acid equivalent, equivalent basicity, all these things you have to remember. Then sulfur percentage, even they ask sometimes, sulfur percentage of gypsum, that is 18.6%, and of ammonium sulfate, that is 24%. So these are most commonly asked question in NET exam and SRF exam and all. So gypsum, what is the formula? Calcium sulfate SO4.2H2O. From here also you can calculate. Then ammonium sulfate NH4 SO4 whole 2 ammonium sulfate. So in this way you can also calculate. The average rainfall of India is 1200 mm, or in centimeter I have been asked, that is 120 centimeter. Herbicide also act as anti-transpirant. Okay, that is atrazine. You know, atrazine is a stomatal closing type anti-transpirant. Then PMA, that is a fungicide, also act as anti-transpirant. Then drought occur due to abnormal failure of rainfall in humid and subhumid region. Abnormal failure of rainfall in humid and subhumid region, that is called contingent drought. Okay, so there are different types of drought are there: permanent drought, seasonal drought, contingent drought, and invisible drought are there. So this is called contingent drought due to abnormal failure of rainfall. Then the color notation for class 4 land capability class, that is blue. So you can remember that is first is green, then yellow, then red, then blue, then dark blue or colorless, then orange, then brown, then purple. So in this case, by this you can remember. Then dash liter of water can be stored in water storage tank having squared base of 1 meter side each side, then height is 2 meters. So basically it looks like this. So this is the height of that tank. Okay, so basically what is the dimension? So it is square, so 1 meter square into 2 meters. So 2 meter cube will be the volume. 2 meter cube, you know 1 meter cube can hold 1000 liter of water. So 2 meter cube can hold 2000 liter of water. Very simple, 2000 liters of water. Dash is an example of bio drainage plant, that is eucalyptus. That is used as bio drainage plant. The phenomenon in which at a particular suction the desorption curve contains more moisture than sorption curve, that is called hysteresis. So this curve will be look like that. That is potential or suction, water potential and moisture content. So let's say this is the desorption curve and this is the sorption curve. So here at a particular suction the desorption curve will contain more moisture than a particular than sorption curve. So this phenomena is called hysteresis. Next question is, the moisture equivalent is more than field capacity for clay soil. The moisture equivalent is more than field capacity for clay soil. Yes, it is true. So moisture equivalent means when we rotate that soil in a centrifugal force, that is 1000 times of that of gravity for 30 minutes. So in clay soil what will happen, as there is having micropores, more micropore and more surface area, so moisture will be retained in the soil. So it is more in case of clay soil, but in case of sandy soil, that is less than field capacity, and in case of loamy soil, that is equal with field capacity. Next one is to get the percentage organic matter of soil, dash is multiplied with soil organic carbon, that is Van Memelen factor, that is 1.724, that is called Van Memelen factor. Okay. Then pahal of blight of sugar cane, that is caused due to manganese deficiency. Okay, grey speck of oat, pahal of blight of sugar cane, these are caused by manganese deficiency. Dash is a stem nodulating green manure crop. You know this, that is Sesbania rostrata. Sesbania rostrata is a stem nodulating green manure crop. The zinc content is dash percent in zinc sulfate heptahydrate, that is 21%. Okay, in heptahydrate that is 21%, and in monohydrate that is 33%. Zinc sulfate monohydrate contain 33% zinc, and zinc sulfate heptahydrate contain 21% zinc. The CN ratio of rice straw is around 80:100:1. CN ratio of rice straw is 80:100:1. So you know the CN ratio will affect the availability of nutrient. So if the CN ratio is less, then there will be mineralization. If the CN ratio will be more, then there will be immobilization. So when we add rice straw in case of in field, then there will be more immobilization, loss of nutrient. There will be binding of the nutrient in microbes. That is called immobilization basically. Then CEC, that is cation exchange capacity of humus, that is 200 to 400 centimole P plus per kg. Then fraction of humus that is soluble in both acid and alkali, that is fulvic acid. So humus contain fulvic acid, humic acid and humin. So humin is the fraction which is insoluble in both. Humic acid is the fraction which is soluble in alkali, and fulvic acid is the fraction which is soluble in both the alkali and acid. Paul's crop that can hardly fix atmospheric nitrogen, that is rajma. Okay, rajma is the Paul's crop that cannot fix atmospheric nitrogen, and it requires heavy nitrogen feeding, that the nitrogen dose will be 100 to 120 kg per hectare. Okay, so these were some of the basic questions I have asked in this first self-assessment test. So now you can know your standard based on this question and answer. So good luck, and if you face any doubt regarding any question, you can ask me in comment, or you can ask me over our Telegram channel or WhatsApp group. So till then, read and keep testing yourself. We'll conduct self-assessment test at regular interval, so stay tuned.